What we did for this style is we took a very bold baseboard, and that's the vertical member. We made that box out of the baseboard. You can, there's opposite, let me see if I can find a piece of scrap here. It's really just how many ways, you can think of to, I've done deals where you just had a flat side and then a panel mold covers the joint, on the side of the beam. I've done them where, the bottom of the beam's here and that covers the side. It's really just, the one thing you want to do is you just want to think about, I want to make sure I've got a place I can hide a joint. That's the number one thing. You don't want to be trying to make a bunch of perfect joints. And the other part is, especially in paint grade, every time you have an offset, you create a shadow line, which creates interest. So Kuiken Brothers has an amazing different variety of moldings, crown moldings and everything. So there's just all sorts of possibilities of ways that you can design around that. But we're going to show you the one we did. Okay, so it's not, again, this is not the only way. We've got, if you want to come up and look at how this beam's laid out, here it is. We could have even done just as simple a thing as this bottom panel mold could have been turned flat the other way. Would have looked different. So lots, again, just do a mock-up, take a look at it. Okay, Barrett, this is our last piece of that baseboard. Were we able to cut this standing up? Barely? Okay, good. I do not like to cut molding laying down if I can help it, because when I cut this big molding standing up like this, in this instance, about the most I'm cutting through is an inch, right? If I lay this flat, lay the saw down, I'm cutting through a lot more wood at one time. So I think finding a lot better results if I cut it standing up. Barrett, if you already took your measurements? 39.70. Well, hey, I am going to play the role of helper and hold the board for Barrett. Let's maybe get 2 times what you need for one of the parts out there. And I think when we did that, we may have even just square cut all the pieces within about an inch long or something, and then handled smaller pieces. And this saw, and a lot of saws, missed it a little bit. If we go back a little bit, will we get it? I think if you go.
I'm hitting the motor.
So one of the things this is absolutely marginal. So let's lay it flat and just square cut it. We're going to square cut the pieces an inch or so long. And then what we can do is make the cut on this. Go ahead and cut this one about into 2 pieces also. And this is about on the borderline as big as you can cut with this saw stand on edge. And where you get in trouble is the motor housing over there. And we can actually cut both ends of this from this side. The motor housing is what gets in the way over here. So we can cut this way and then flip it upside down and cut that way, right? So there you are, sir. Plus, I personally, being right-handed, am more comfortable cutting that way anyway. We don't need to worry about that. It's merely a flesh wound. it is nice to be able to be measuring from long points on this. We almost didn't get to do this demonstration because when we were getting ready to make that mock-up, we got this one piece that's long enough to do that, and I just about grabbed it up. We had scraps around the corner, but I just about grabbed this one up to make the mock-up because I was in a big hurry this morning. So fortunately, Matt, I think it was Matt, said, "Hey, you may need to save that for that last." And we've used up most of our moldings. For this, by the way, in the design that we're doing, we actually shove these up flat up against the ceiling, but you wouldn't have to if we were using a smaller molding. We could space it down, but that does start to make it a little bit more difficult. It's really nice to be able to shove it right up against the ceiling. But you could say if you wanted to be 1.5 inches down, you could tack a block up there as a spacer block or something, because when the crown mold comes down, you've got 2 or 3 inches of grace at the ceiling.
About all this solar you do.
Yeah, that's a big cut. That's a big old board. Okay. Are we ready to nail it together? Okay. So we do want to we'll make sure Barrett gets these. Did y'all do this with a 21 or?
I got both there, 18 and the 21.
We're going to put a pretty good dose of glue. Let me see if I can do it with a 21. It'll be a little less likely to come out someplace we don't want it to come out, I think.
Long enough you want?
Yeah, that'll be good enough. If it's not, we'll go to the 18. All right. Now, one of the other things that's kind of critical about what we're doing here, and there's a lot of things in carpentry work this is true, we've got at least a relatively flat surface that we're working on so that we can get everything lined up. And the great advantage the way we're doing this is, again, I get to nail through the outs. Does this have 2s in it, Barrett? Oh, whacker. So we get a whole bunch of nails. Let's do this side down here. Thank you. What, I run down? Okay, so here's the next lesson. If you ever do happen to miss with a shot and the nail's sticking out, do not nip it off. Wiggle it back and forth and it will break off below the surface. I didn't really do that on purpose, but it was a good teaching moment, Barry.
Most definitely. It's getting late for teaching moments. If we don't get them.
So you better hurry up and get done.
That's right. No. If we don't get them. We don't
Well,
make any mistakes, we won't be able to teach anybody how to fix it.
Every place I go, I like to make sure I have that teaching moment, because if you start trying to nip those things off, you'll end up with a very unhappy painter. Okay, Barrett, I'm done with my side.
Attaboy.
Ooh, thank you. Yeah, we're going to run out of air pretty quick, aren't we? As you can see, like any good leader, I did the easy side and the Barrett the side that was the finishing side. Well, Barrett, did you turn this? No. One of the nice things about this really thick baseboard is it gives us lots of room to nail. And Barrett's going ahead and putting some 2-inch 18s in there also, and that's probably what we're going to use to put it up in place. Cutting these within a 16th, so we got a little bit of play. Is it going in? Need a rubber hammer? No?
There you go.
Look at you go. I'm going to shoot it over here first. What do you think?
Perfect.
Our friends at the demolition crew from Kuiken Brothers would probably wish we'd not shoot this quite so much. Maybe put one behind your head there or something. Okay, that was the easier part. And I like to cut my crown nested still. I'm an old-fashioned kind of guy. And I think I'm going to start out by cutting this right down the middle so I don't have as big a piece to deal with. So if I cut this at 80, I'll have plenty to cut 2 pieces. And the other side of it is, although we tried to be, are they going to be pretty close to the same? Okay, so, if you are a little bit out, then you have to be really careful as you put it back together. All right. So the first thing I'm doing when I cut, cutting crown nested means you're basically cutting it upside down from the way it's going to be installed, but that means I can see that long point right up here on top. So I'm going to put a pencil mark. Barrett does not like this when I do this to a saw, but I'm just putting a pencil mark. A lot of times we'll put like blue masking tape or something there so we can see right where we want to put. I'm not a big fan of using the stops, because if I need to make an adjustment when I'm running crown, I roll it up or down to adjust it, and if you have the stops there, you're not rolling it down. So, but for what we're doing, this is sort of, maybe not a perfect world, but this is sort of close to a perfect world, so it's just going to be key for me to cut every one of these at the same angle. This used to be a lot easier when I could see. How about that? 2 in a row. I'm going to double check myself. Okay, I'm still 16th long. And that's as close to 37 13/16 that I can cut one. Did you want 2 of those or 4 of them? No way. You did an amazing job, Barrett, of cutting those first pieces. You just cheated. Just found a happy medium, huh? Okay. To be able to put it in? Yeah, I like that goal. Oh, man. The bad part about, not the bad part, but the challenging part about this is, Matt and Barrett did those other 3 while I was working on the mantle. So if the one I cut doesn't turn out any good, I'll never hear the end of it. that's about as close as I can cut that. There you go. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this yet or not, but again, I'm more comfortable cutting from that side. That's why I'm trying to make all my final cuts to length from that side. You want that block of wood up there, Barrett, or are you good, you think? All right. Well, you start now, and I'll keep talking and cutting, and that way if there's a problem, they won't know because they'll be listening to me, maybe. I think the next time that I come do this, I'm going to have to break down and go ahead and bring my prescription glasses. Oh man, I might be a 30-second long on this. Again, the ability to nail back through into that box is what makes it a lot easier to put that joint together. As long as we're really careful about our marks. I actually knew, now I've seen some guys, maybe y'all have too. Anybody seen anybody that does like a 12 by 16 room that way, if they've got that long a trim, that they go into the room and they nail the trim, the whole big room together and put it, I don't know how they do it, but I've seen guys do that. I find it to be challenging enough just to do this. And I better double check my measurement one more time instead of standing here talking. 37 and 13/16, right? Okay. One time I was building a mantle, getting down to the end of the day, the teaching thing, and I miscut the last piece. Like, well, that's all I got, so we're not going to finish this mantle today. Should be a little bit long still. One more, Chet. Ooh. Okay, so this might be a 64th short. Hopefully we're not going to demonstrate this, but if we did go up there and it just was a little bit too tight to go in, I could take my block plane, and if I block plane a little bit off the back of this, in that corner, it's going to give it room to go in. So it's probably better to be a little bit on the tight side almost, but the other side of it is if we're within a 16th and we split the difference, that means we're in the 32nd. Most people probably say that's a pretty good fit. So you're saying you don't?
I didn't want 2 inch.
You want me to get up there and nail it when you get it there? All right. You ready?
Yep.
me get out of the way. So I look absolutely outstanding from there. That's what we were hoping for. Now, the other thing that I messed up on this morning, because I was wanting to get all these different panel details and everything, I took the molding. I'm pretty sure we looked for it too. We had another stick of this outside molding, but you know what we can do, Barrett? We got some of this left. Let's just use this one, because this would also show how you can do different molding. We're going to have to lay it flat for sure. So give me your outside to outsides. I'm going to have to think differently this time, because this molding is like going up kind of differently than what we normally do, because the thick edge is going to be about a 32nd under 40 on the short point. If we do, hey Barrett, let's do the pieces opposite from each other, then we can measure long points after that. About it. Let me see if I can get one. Barely under 40. One of the things I like about the nice wide saw table with the continuous support here is I can get the trim can just sit here. Barely under 40. See what you think of that first, please, sir. Say 40 and 15.
Yes, please.
What? Go ahead and see if that one fits first before we get too carried away. 39 and 15. Okay. Let me get on one side. I can watch one corner, you can watch the other. This one's across here, right?
Yes, sir. It's hard to see that booger up in there. Let's see.
That's about it.
I'm a good 16 shy.
Shy. Well, that's not good. Wait, I can give you that. You make that work if I block plane the backside of them?
Yeah, you have to ball clean this.
I can do it.
Okay.
So I'm a little bit short on the outside corners, but I can fix that with a block plane. The way that I'll do that, because it's short, I'll just block plane some off that and it'll let it go over and close. So I think you still give me long point to long point, Barrett, maybe a little bit long. Yeah. This one's going to need some block plane off the back edge, right? To go back and fit. So because I ended up a little bit short on those others, I'm going to block plane some off this. We split the difference, right? So we're a tiny bit short both ways. You want me to watch one corner, or are you just going to say yay?
That's great. Look over here.
Which one?
This one right here.
Well, oh, okay. That was the, I don't know whether I need to. I'm loving this. Now you need to give, no, it'll go back in there. That'll work. Does it work for you? I could take a little bit if you want me to.
Good.
Okay.
Do you need any?
No, I think we pull that in and make it work. We'll have
I
to.
can give you just a hair.
Yeah, give me a little bit. Go ahead and get what you want and nail it.
Yeah, I'll let that.
And if we were at this point again, the shelf life of this is about another 2 hours, maybe. We'd probably, we'd be gluing these joints if we're gonna, if it wasn't gonna be going away here pretty quick. That's pretty good. All right. And this is actually a little bit of a different look because the mold on this one, the moldings stand on edge. What we're doing there, the molding is flat. 42 and block plane some more. There are a couple other little details, though, we are going to try to do completely unrehearsed, Barrett. I know you'll like that. Possibly. I guess that's one of the reasons I love what I do is because you look at something like that as it's getting done. Even if it is going to be torn down. Okay, a little less on this side.
Yeah, I don't think it would be as aggressive.
But it's working really well, Barrett. That's great here from what I can feel.
You can't give me any.
I'll give you that.
There you go. You still like yours?
I love it.
Okay. I do too.
Especially since it's right by the wall. Do not shoot yourself in the finger. Barrett, you're scaring me.
Don't worry, my wife won't call you for another 3 days.
On vacation. I got to figure a way to get. Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
That's what I'm talking about.
Attaboy.
Okay.
Nice.
Another way to take that detailing even more is we're going to find a little panel mold here, and we're going to cut. I'm going to say we want to come over about 4.5 inches, Barrett. So if you'll give me, and we'll definitely be able to cut all those same. Take, measure, and then subtract 9 inches.
You get 33 3/4.
33 3/4. Hang on. I can do this, Barrett. I'm going to use my Arkansas math over here. 33 3/4. This late in the day, I don't want to do a whole lot of math. So what I did, I burned 9 inches here. I'm going to mark 33 3/4. Hey, that's a lot like, looks like about 24 5/8-ish or so. Maybe 20, anyway.
4.5, right?
Well, 4.5 each way, yeah. So I'm going to get a little molding here. We've got lots of this. I could use this again. We've got this one. I kind of like this. All right, here we go. And this is where I could really do some good with the stop over there, because if I was doing that whole ceiling, I'd be cutting 4, 8, 12, 16 pieces exactly the same. I'm just going to cut 4, but I think I'll still use the stop. Just going to, okay, again, I think, unless my mind's way off, I'm just going to go 24 3/4. Barrett, if you've got some shorter headless pins, it's probably a good time to get them out. So what we want to try to do is nail this little frame together here on the bench and then gently lift it up in place. Okay, we'll find my stop. And sometimes with the stop, because on a little B molding, it can kind of get behind the stop. So sometimes I'll just add a block of wood. So I'm going to put this block of wood there and then move the stop over to hold the block of wood in place, hopefully without any sawdust in there. Okay, and again, if I was doing all 4 of those, I just would make this cut 16 times. Super careful on the fingers now, Barrett. One of the things that you want to do when you're putting together something small like this with a gun is that I want to get the edge of it hanging out over the side like so. Just how long are these?
About half.
Ooh, that is pretty small.
You want longer?
No, I love that. As long as they... Just a little bit more of that action. I'm just trying to feel, there shouldn't be a long point sticking back on either side of this. This is our last piece here, right? And because of the way this is, I probably need to both get up there to try and get it in place. So something like this, I don't know how you would do it without a headless pinner. Feels pretty good. I'm very glad you marked that up on the ceiling, Barrett. Okay, let me...
21 or 23?
It doesn't matter to me. So it's got to stay up there for about an hour and a half. Now, again, if this was going up there permanently, it'd probably be a really good idea to put a little bit of glue on the back of this because we're only going to hit so many, So if you put a little bit of glue up there, by the time that glue sets up, it's not coming off. You wouldn't even need nails. But anyway. How come the short guys on the tall guys on the tall ladder and the short guys on the short ladder, Barrett?
Genetics.
keep on coming. So I'm hoping y'all can see this. I mean, it just adds a whole different detail when that's all painted. It kind of pulls it up in. We're going to use that other molding because it's bigger and easier on our, be less danger to our fingers. It probably isn't exactly the molding I'd use for this, but we got lots of it. So here we go. Get this out of the way for the moment. Oh. Yeah, I think that's right. Now turn the saw the other way. This is one of those things I can never wrap my mind around, that the saw, to do this, you have to cut them from both directions. Bet you could do that deal if you take a board where you nail, all three sizes into a board and then pass the board around. Well, I'm trying to make sure I have my mind right. Ooh, I think this is promising. Yes. Let me get around here. We'll see if I can get around here where he can see. We need, this one goes over here. Does this one go over here? I have confidence, no. This one should go here. All right. Starting to look pretty good. We got two of them in the right spot. Plus that means there's a lot less pieces up here for me to play with. Ah, come on, there's only so many places this could go. If I'd done all these, this one can go here. It's not it. Aha! Nobody move those pieces. Yeah, the length is not actually correct. I just got them in order where they go. So again, this is I think a really cool looking detail that if you're doing it a bunch of times, it's just a whole bunch of repetitive cuts. And I didn't really have any goal size or anything when I started this, so hopefully we're going to see an interesting concept, even if the proportions may not be just absolutely outstanding. And this is I'd probably be more inclined to do this detail that I'm using here with this small molding that we put around there, but I cut all that up this morning, so. Uh-oh, Millie. This one's a little bit. No, I got in a hurry and cut one slightly shorter. But the good news is no one knows what the actual finished size is going to be yet, so. I even doing this, you know what? Ooh, ah.
So you're about 30 inches.
No, darn it, guess what? We're going to be shorter than that because this piece is shorter. What's it the car keeps saying? Recalculating? Try that one. I got a mark now.
Okay, you good?
I should be okay.
Final assembly.
What have I done here? There we go. I think I'm finding the pieces we need. This could give me the last one. What? Maybe this will give me the last one. So what I did, and to make one of these details, it takes 4 each direction. So I cut 4 short pieces of trim this way, you know, long to long, and I spun around, cut 4 the other direction as long as they're the same size. I'll try to help you with glue. How's that?
Give me just enough on it to make it tacky.
Yeah, I didn't really. What? You don't want it lubricating and flying around? How you like that?
Looks like the piece of the puzzle we needed.
We're going to mess around almost. Barrett almost got one out of order. Here, let me feed you this one for that corner over there.
Did you glue that one already?
Oh, yeah, but it's not going to set up that fast. I don't think. Barrett, you're doing so good. I'm going to get back out of the way. Hopefully we're going to be able to, we're just going to eyeball it on this one, Barrett. We're not going to make any marks. We'll just eyeball it. Say whatever looks good. How about this time I get on the tall ladder. And this kind of delicate, we'd be better off to wait and let the glue dry, but we're going to try and hold this up so you can see it, and then we're going to try and get it up on the ceiling while it's still in one piece. All right, you Vanna White it. Turn around gently and show him what you got. He'll appreciate if y'all go, ooh, ah. Thank you. Now we'll see if we can keep it together and we'll have to get it up on the ceiling.
This could be treasures from the trash.
Could be lots of little, yeah. Think about if you were doing a whole job and you were using that for base cap, what are the chances you'd end up with some short pieces you could make that?
For a plain door. He does a whole session on treasures from the trash, so that's why it's good.
Yeah. All right. We're just gonna.
Oh man.
What do you think?
I think you better nail it.
Can't really tell, but we're going for
Yeah,
it.
it looks good.
And we definitely would have wanted to put some, glue on this. And you know, we can still hit an occasional joist here, but we're not being too picky. What do you think? One more? All right, so, you know, we could have been a little bit more picky about but the biggest thing, again, so I set up, cut a whole bunch of pieces this way, pieces this way, and then the hardest part was me. The hardest part was me remembering how they went together, and I'm hoping y'all will take the time to come up here and look at it. Hope some of y'all can stay around because it does make it so much more fun. And please, come on up. I'd love for you to, you know, again, we didn't have perfect craftsmanship, but come up and look at some of this stuff up close.